Hey everybody, Dr. Incompetent here, getting ready to continue this little foray with my self-named Hill-Orc of Trog. Experience level 11, Dungeon 9. Let's kill some bees. So, bees represent an interesting threat with a melee class. They are hard to hit and they poison you. They're quick. So there's something that you want to take out, obviously, quickly, but you want to take them out one at a time. Even if you have an axe and you feel like, I want to cleave, don't. Try to take them down in the corridor, one at a time. So here we go. Splat. Bees eliminated, no problem. Alright, so let's just see where we're at with Trog. So we can now call in reinforcements, and that is a very, very useful thing to have in our hip pocket, but primarily we're going to be sticking with Berserk and Trog's Hand for now. Alright, so let's take a look at the gear and just keep plowing through the dungeon. Auto-exploring, look at those footprints, flying all over. And at this point, we're feeling pretty tough compared to D9. I feel pretty good. So we're just gonna drop down to D10. Nothing else for us to spend our time on here. And there's a two-headed ogre. So let me talk about my practice as a Trog practitioner against a threat like this. The first thing I did, you saw, was that I pushed A to bring up the God abilities, and I used Trog's Hand. I use Trog's Hand so that I can get some regeneration starting. Then, when the enemy is one tile away, what I do is I go Berserk. And from there, the enemy then, while I'm going Berserk, takes a step toward me, and then they are immediately on me. Now, a two-headed ogre with this build, with these stats, is something I feel pretty comfortable with, but notice that I was on the staircase so I could bail if I needed to. There was also a troll, and he does end up adding on, but for me, I didn't feel the need to stair dance here. What I did was I just got my regeneration going, got Berserk, and kind of felt it out, and I was able to take out the ogre, the troll, and the iguana who added on, but he's of no consequence. The troll could have been tougher if he went Berserk, but that didn't happen. So let's see. Alright, so we start smacking and smacking, and remember, I'm using an axe, so I might as well just hit them all while I'm Berserk, as long as nothing goes badly. And look at my health. I don't even believe that I was hit for anything significant there, but I will jump back up the steps and eat, and then rest, so that I can get rid of all of my debuffs, get my speed back up, get my health back engaged, and then press on. Just a quick look at my skills to see if I'm happy with their levels, and at this point they are satisfactory to me, so I will continue to keep training my top 4 skills, which are fighting, armor, shields, and axes. But also note that I've turned on throwing at this point. Boomerangs, just for the heck of it, because boomerangs. And as you will see later, as this run progresses, I'm becoming more and more of a fan of using projectiles, throwing projectiles with a Berserker, because Trog grants you ammunition, and if he can give you stuff like silver javelins especially, I mean, you want large rocks if you're a troll, but if you can't carry a large rock like this guy, you want silver javelins, and they devastate people. And so I eventually start training throwing, because I'm getting more and more impressed by throwing. But right now I'm just kind of using my boomerang as something to do until the enemies get in range of my axe. I recommend this highly because it's great to just soften enemies up. It's not really that hard to hit with a throwing weapon. And especially considering the way that they've overhauled throwing. Now here, these death yaks are doing a lot of damage. That's what they do. So I've gotten myself into this position where I can fight one or two at a time, and I go berserk and I just rip through them. Now this guy's still alive, but I'm strong enough to not worry about just one, even though I'm slow. And that's, you know, just a testament to, oh, there's the lair, kind of what I'm up to in this game and my playstyle in particular. I am not a optimal player. Sometimes I make pretty decent decisions. There's a big old rune battle axe, and a lot of the times I make bad decisions. So what I've had to do is adapt my playstyle to the fact that I often make mistakes, so that I have enough of a buffer to stay alive in a permadeath, extremely challenging game like this. So, you know, like, there's a pretty good example. There was no reason for me to rush into that situation and fight that many wights at once, instead of going for better positioning, which is what I'm doing here. I'm backing up into this corridor where I can get a nice position. And actually, this was pretty useful because, as you see, there was an invisible creature there, and I was able to trap them in between a wight and me and a corridor, so that he couldn't escape, and I could just keep swinging and hit them until they died. So sometimes when you realize, like, you're just way out of your depth with your positioning, it's not bad at all just to strategically retreat. Just keep walking backwards, even though you take hits, because in the long run, it's a better play to compensate for the mistake that you made, as opposed to just, like, you know, vaingloriously trying to have your Custer's last stand in some position because you refuse to, you know, give an inch or whatever. I give all the inches and then give them the axe, and it usually works out. So I'm looking at my stats and my stuff, and I'm bad at resisting fire. I have no boots, and I have no amulet. But we can build on those things. We're only on D10. We haven't even gone into a branch. So at this point, for me in a run, I'm really just looking to get maybe a little resist fire, resist poison. Look at all these dudes. And a ghost. Boy, there's a lot of experience there. Ooh, and there's an artifact hat. So I don't, you know, I need, let's look at what's there. So here's what I can see. And I'm kind of just like flipping through. This guy, this orc warrior, just has 2 artifact items, an artifact trident and an artifact plate armor. That's pretty sweet. There's the artifact hat that I can get, but really the 3 orc warriors are kind of tough. The orc priests are very annoying with the smite, and the ghost is is like the X factor here. It says it's extremely dangerous, but it's a minotaur berserker, so it's melee, and I'm comfortable against melee. So, you know, I'm feeling like it's time to slaughter a bunch of my brethren. Do I have any scrolls? Anything? Oh, okay, I had a scroll of acquirement that was unidentified. Fantastic. So let's go ahead and use this for some jewelry. I love using this on... Oh my god, I got a stack of 3 scrolls of acquirement. Now that is outrageous. Okay, there's an artifact ring. And let's use it on the last one. Let's use this one on armor, I suppose. And crystal plate. Okay, let's back away for a moment and just kind of revel in this. You can't say that the game doesn't give you anything when this happens, okay? So I got a crystal plate and an artifact turquoise ring from 3, count them, 3 scrolls of acquirement. That is a ridiculous amount of scrolls of acquirement, and even then we still could have got shafted. We could have got nothing, right? No artifacts, just bunk, you know, magical items. We lucked out and got crystal plate armor. Crystal plate armor is the heaviest armor in the game, and it's got the highest GDR. It also affords the greatest base armor rating, and so it makes you snug as a bug in a rug. And even though this is going to be too heavy for me to wear with my armor skill and my strength, at this moment I'm still throwing this on as fast as possible so that I can just be a tank moving around. That's what I like. So this is an incredible discovery this early in the run, and I like where it's taking us. Not all. That is not all. There is also a ring to identify, so let's check out this ring, and it gives us magic resistance, intelligence, we lose dex, and we get some stealth. So it's actually a little bit underwhelming, unfortunately. I don't care about stealth with this build at all. I really don't care about intelligence either. Magic resist is fine, but you know, it's an upgrade, perhaps. Now let's keep training throwing. That's looking real strong right now. But for the most part, I'm just going to put on this crystal plate and keep going. So I'm training 5 skills now. I believe I said 4 before, but I did turn on throwing in addition to my just regular 4. There is consideration here to focus into armor so that we can expedite the process of helping mitigate that encumbrance rating and also get the benefit from the crystal plate, but we'll see about that. I'm just blind reading some scrolls. Ooh, enchant armor. Yeah, let's go ahead and enchant the crystal plate. I always like to enchant stuff that I think I won't replace soon. And that usually ends up being like an accessory with a brand, just because, you know, the chances are less of finding accessories like gloves, boots, things like that. But this crystal plate will not get replaced, and so we're going to go ahead and keep that on and enchant it tremendously. So let's see if there's any potions that we want to use to give us an advantage here, as we do indeed want to open this door. Alright, so I'm going to just use my regeneration, drink a potion of haste, and then crack the door open from here. Immediately the orc priests are on me, and so let's take these guys out as fast as possible so they can't smite us. I'm going to go berserk just right now. It might seem early, but oh, okay, the ghost dropped like a joke, and we're getting level 12. We are putting a point into strength immediately, strength all day with this character, and let's just keep chopping in. This guy has a trident, so we need to close the distance. And there we go. So we come out of berserk, and there doesn't seem to be anybody left. That actually went way better than I thought it was going to. I need to eat. I am near starving, but let's chop up some of these guys and eat them. And let's just see. So here are the 2 artifacts. This plate armor, the slaying is attractive. Everything else sucks. I don't want to lose 5 strength, and I don't want to have +0 plate. So there's really no reason to switch over to that from my crystal plate. And I don't really want to do a trident right now, especially considering the amount of benefit that this axe gives. Alright, so let's see what this hat's all about. Sweet Moses, look at this hat. Look at this hat. It gives full resist fire, it gives +3 strength, 2 intelligence, and it makes us louder. So what? It's also a +2 hat. This hat is ridiculous. Look at this now. We just have full fire resist, cold resist, 1 resist negative energy, and a resist poison, and we're only on dungeon 10, experience level 12. Sweet Jesus, we're in crystal plate, 28 strength. This is looking really, really good. We are drained, which kind of sucks, but whatever. We'll get that back soon enough. Let's go ahead and identify some of these potions. Degeneration, yep, let's get that the hell out of there. And drop that onto the ground. And here's some people that we can fight. Let's just back up into this corridor. Remember, these gnolls have reach weapons, so we gotta get close. And I'm just holding down tab and murdering things at this point, okay? The heavy rocks could have hit us, but they really didn't. Cyclops isn't as bad as some of the later stuff throwing a heavy rock. I mean, he could still wreck you if you're light, but our crystal plate makes those not so scary. I'm just having some fun, just throwing boomerangs. Oh, here's an amulet. Okay, here's a hydra. So this is a moment where having axes is a little bit scary, okay? Axes against a hydra, no good. I do have a wand of flame and a file of floods, alright? So let's just back up. Remember, hydras are slow, and so generally you can just run away from them on your own steam if you don't want to engage them. I'm going to give him the file of floods and just see what he does with some water and a water elemental. He's hurt my water elemental pretty badly, but he's hurt. And the cool thing is I can hit him with the wand of flame while he's on the water and just do a little, that's a combo wombo. Hydras don't like wand of flame at all, and I'm just going to stand in here and tank this guy and just keep evoking my wand. It's dangerous, but it doesn't make him spawn more heads, and he was hurt. Remember, if you hit something in the water with fire, it makes the steam and it does a little extra damage, so we got him. And if that would have gone sideways, I could have just started running away. I also could have gone berserk when he was almost close to dead and started swinging my axe, even though it would have spawned more heads, just to try to take him down. Oh, we got corroded pretty heavily there. Oh, scroll of enchant armor. Beautiful. Ooh, and Trog's giving us a weapon. It's a demon trident. Well, that is the best one-handed trident in terms of base damage. Let's pick up these javelins because they're better to throw than my boomerangs. Although they did fix it so that boomerangs always come back. They used to not do that until you had a higher throwing skill. Now, even with throwing 0, those boomerangs are coming back. You will lose a lot of ammunition over time due to attrition and just, you know, misplacing them. They land in the water or whatever, but now that's much less of a problem. And also Trog is going to give us you know, missiles to throw, and so we should be pretty decently supplied with stuff. Okay, Amulet of Harm. If you don't know my feelings on Amulet of Harm, they are thus: drop it immediately, never use it. I believe they're coming out at 2.5, and they should. It is simply not a good trade-off to do more damage, to take more damage. Never a good idea. Alright, so let's just kind of identify these rings. Rings are pretty safe to just put on and identify if you have plenty of scrolls of Remove Curse, unless they are artifact rings, because they could have some kind of funky brand on them that you don't want to mess with, that like does something if you take it off, or just wearing it, you know, has a chance to do something bad. So if it's a blue ring, meaning just a magical item, not an artifact item. Artifacts are white, magical items are blue. I'll just put those on if I've got Remove Curse and save my Identify Scrolls for primarily potions, weapons, armor, things like that. Other scrolls too, sometimes if I'm feeling saucy. Alright, so let's just do a little inventory management. Dropping the stuff that we don't need. Potions of Brilliance, not helpful. or, I mean, not that they're not helpful, they're just very low impact. Potion of Agility, some people might love them. With this build, I don't use them. Now, you can also open up this screen by pushing the / and kind of tell the game what you want auto pickup to ignore, which is what I do. You can't really do this effectively until you've identified the items themselves, in terms of like picking and choosing what you want. But once you've got them and you've identified them, then you can go back into that screen and just tell the game, no, never pick up a Potion of Brilliance again. All right, so we've unlocked the lair and the dungeon. That's pretty much only places that we can go. So let's go ahead and go to dungeon 12. Oh, and here's a big old hydra. How charming. Okay, it's an 8-headed hydra. So let's just go to a different staircase. Yeah, this is a little bit better. Okay, here we go. And so let's eat this iguana right away. Yep, eat. Okay. And here's a centaur. Oop, and we're right back where that 8-headed hydra was, so let's be careful. Let's just have a ranged weapon contest with this guy. And look, I outranged him. A boomerang against a bow. That's embarrassing for all of centaur kind. Okay. Alright, there's an ogre zombie, which is not hard, but the hydra is problematic, okay? Do I want to stand here and fight an 8-headed hydra with what I have? Let's give him, I guess... My File of Floods is still not working. I need more experience. Let's give him some Wands of Flames. Let's go ahead and get our regeneration turned on. And then I'm going to do Brothers in Arms. And ooh, we get a big old 2-headed ogre, but he just got devastated by the hydra there. Alright, so that was not a good turn of events. I'm going to eat... Do I want to fight, or do I want to just go away? I think I'll take this guy by himself up the steps so I don't have to fight the mosquitoes as well. Alright, so let's give him some flame and see how he feels about it. He is attacking us, but remember we've got the crystal plate, we've got our shield. So he does hurt us, but not too badly. I'm going to go ahead and summon another dude, and now he's berserking, and that time it went better for the 2-headed ogre. So he was berserk, and he did his thing by just splatting that 8-headed hydra in one shot with his great club. And so that's a better showing. It is kind of like, there's a lot of volatility in how effective the Brothers in Arms will be. You don't even know which one you're going to get. You might just get a regular ogre, but you know, you can get some pretty stout dudes. Even so, they might miss, or they might summon into a square that's not favorable positioning wise, or on and on and on. But that time, that was extremely helpful. I was going to get wrecked by that hydra, and oh, okay, so now the Cyclops is making me eat my words about large rocks. He's bapping me. Remember though, I could have just read a scroll of teleportation if it got any worse than that. Oh, here's a shop. But that's kind of why I also had the regeneration going. And yeah, this shop's terrible for me. No axes and a bunch of spell books, which Trog hates. So, wah wah, bad shop. Okay. Just a bunch of undead. Oh, here's some. Okay, there's the Orcish mines. Fantastic. And here's a phantom. Let's talk to this guy. See what he thinks. Alright, here is a... yeah, these ugly things can do some damage to you that you wouldn't expect. And so, luckily I was in a nice little nook there and went berserk and was able to just take them down. Now, if I needed to run, I had an escape route behind, also teleport. I am training evocations now at this point too, because as I saw with the Hydra there, I'm going to need to be able to use wands and evocable items a little bit to add that to my arsenal. So I like to add throwing weapons and evocations in, even though I'm a fire type, just to give me some range and some more versatility, especially against something like a Hydra where, unless I get an axe of flaming, I'm in a bad spot. Speaking of bad spots, this is actually a good spot for us to kind of stop the run for a moment until we resume with the next video. And so to recap, at this point, we are now training 6 skills. The basic 4, fighting, axes, shields, armor, but also throwing and evocations to spread out our game a bit. We've obtained crystal plate armor. We are cruising through dungeon 12, our experience level 12. We have a whopping 30 armor class. We somehow got an artifact hat with 3 resist fire on it, among other great things. So we're sitting with 3 resist fire, 2 resist cold. We've got 1 resist negative energy. We have resist poison. So things are kind of falling into place for this character. And what I love about the Hill-Orc Berserker or fighter, however you want to go, is that it's very gear dependent, but when you do get the drops that you need to kind of turn the corner, it becomes an incredible class background combo that is super strong. Additionally, if you go Berserker, you can make up for the fact that you might not get the gear you're looking for right at the beginning, and then stay alive long enough to acquire that gear. So everyone, thank you so much for tuning in, for checking out episode 3 of this run, and I will see you next time. Peace.